This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible. That's Farina, right over there.
What was meant to happen? I'm sorry. I am so... I'm sorry, but what can I even do? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina. Farina, you were...
What do you mean, tear stains? Who did that uncivilized... They even dare to tout their Archon! I must teach them. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the marsh...
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some... That's against the rules.
Farina just ran off! Quick, we have to catch up! This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here! Quick!
What?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine, I suppose I... I merely gave in to the sheer...
Yep, that's...
What's happening? The ground...
Yeah, a quake of this...
It can't be...
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's made some emergency...
Yeah, but the people of Poisson... It's true. I once had informants all over to... I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold that. All my efforts proved we cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do. Give up. I do love this. Indeed. I've thought about giving up. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? But just now, it all became clear to me. As long as the final moment has... Don't worry. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse. Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the...
Come on! Paimon could have sworn...
Cher, that's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my... A witness. Yes, I've heard that and if to that is in its entirety.
Ladies and gentlemen, Now, without further ado, we...
So this. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor.
May I interpret these words? As your in that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through...
You would draw your blade against... I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see...
Wow, how utter...
Lady Farina!
It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for
I raised my hands just now to indicate my... I will admit that I've been... I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable... You are not the only ones to be... But now, I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true me... This time... Applaud and rejoice. One of the... Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Font... Woohoo! Oh, now we're...
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, also, even though she's still acting super dramatic...
All right, then. Who...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Also, please allow me to ask, just how much work did you do?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were...
Navia, the president of...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning they changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like so, we arranged...
So, you mean... The ones who...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally...
That's right. That house was a magic...
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between was an Archon. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never... Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearths, we had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel...
So, in other words, the earthquake that...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and you gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. As for you, traveler, I suppose you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor. Oh? It's fine. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to...
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the...
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Wait. Then that means this document is a... So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every... Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, all right?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case. This is the first time Monsieur Nervilette had a Fatui Harbinger. The fortress of Meripede was according to Monsieur Nervilette, I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervy. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defense, of course. It is only natural for—
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct. Instead, I would like to—
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Arc—
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead— Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine—
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure.
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to if you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the god of justice that—
An argument with near impossible odds, huh?
Yeah. Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. And if I was not the Archon—
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you—
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd think so.
A curse. I once thought it possible that the aura— But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed—
You sensed it too, huh, Nervalet?
Lady Farina.
Well, it is true that it's extreme—
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god— For centuries, manifestation— One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal—
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you at—
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions—
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your— While the court is in session, the prince— You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges.
I never thought—
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty instead of having been created by you—
The real Hydro Archon. It is true that I did not know why, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. You can't argue that just because—
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident—
My power as an Archon.
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to...
You don't need to...
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive... Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power?
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone! Please, I'm still the same Farina you knew, please.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents?
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence.
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. That doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think this...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can—
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before a...
super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As ever, including those of some— So, Miss Farina, would you dare, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, but if you don't dare to touch it,
They return to the defendant's stand.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved!
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, however, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual. We don't want anyone else to lose their luck.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used.
I can't believe... Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and think about it! How can you conclusively prove that Also, if I was really just a... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your arch...
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway her. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale. According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse...
Well, what's wrong?
No, the oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the to be punished via...
That's actually one of the available sentences?
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the...
Farina's been sentenced to death by the oratrice? We just want...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to is this sentence really appropriate for the crime?
Yeah! Even Vache wasn't sentenced to death by the oratrice.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, but now, the oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the...
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! Oh, you finally made it. I assume...
Any mission,
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded? Then...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing...
Huh? So what do you see?
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently...
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other... slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon used. Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, the second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin. The third slate shows the Hydro Archon seeking and... That reminds Paimon, didn't... Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? That doesn't sound quite right. That doesn't sound... That doesn't...
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that, and the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro Archon used. This might be the reason that Fontaine...
That doesn't sound... That doesn't sound...
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened. The true sin of the Hydro Archon and the original sin cast down on the...
That doesn't sound... That doesn't sound... That doesn't...
It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea.
That doesn't sound... That doesn't...
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial... If we hadn't dealt with...
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea, but won't cease to exist. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death, and Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! But then it feels like...
Let's hear them.
Incredible.
All Fontanians were originally created by the lake. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve and... Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that that could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be...
The Hydro Archon's true sin?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the...
Yeah! Isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into... So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been... In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters. And only the... Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, when we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of your hypotheses regarding the origin. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their... However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanid's blood vessel. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power... Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race, and thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true
So you...
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm... Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sent to...
This really might be too much information for your...
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective A key point of the visual on the third slate is how they have not been dissolved. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as... You may also recall Navia's experience. Therefore, that the people of Fontaine shall try the Yes, it refers...
I think I'm following now. So, in truth, everything we've done...
What should we do?
No matter what.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that as for the root cause of the catastrophe, This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside.
The truth, the original sin.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in—
So we've met it at last. I understand that whale does not belong to Teyvat. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial, and once it has finished consuming—
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of
Precisely. That whale finds the blood. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case—
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that from the way he looked. He must have been—
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster—
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial seas, even if the entirety of Teyvat were to be destroyed.
We've already done everything we can, and we've come so far.
Indeed. That's not how a grand—
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, ultimately, fate—
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is...
You are not Farina.
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that...
Focalors. Why?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Good, the heavenly principle.
Deceiving the heaven...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused. She knew full well that and as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavens. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over. Alone on the ocean floor, I had to outwit the heavenly principle. I'm a genius, I know. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first. The me you see before you now is that divinity. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. Her strengths were of a kind only a human. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly... Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive... Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, under the curse I placed on her, so long as Focalors' divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to... Instead... She was forced to take the stage in the opera. I suppose now you probably understand why.
But Farina is only human. Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any... I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, it's been far, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizing.